The 20 things you taught Chef Marino about cooking on the stove. Kids can virtually cook by themselves. You watch the chef training videos and you get right to work in the kitchen. You enjoy cooking for your family, and your family has enjoyed tasting the foods that you've been making. Bubble gloves for 20 seconds are still in style. Good job keeping the germs off your hands and out of your food. Use a step stool to position yourself above the pot. This is much safer. If you don't have a toaster or toaster oven, you can toast bread in a dry skillet. Place the bread into the skillet without butter or oil and toast it for 2 to 3 minutes on each side. Chefs use butter and cooking oil when they're cooking in a pan, but if you have to use pan spray, please be sure to spray it low. If it sprays over the edges of the pan, it can leave a sticky mess on your stove and your countertops. When you're making things like grilled cheese sandwiches and quesadillas, start the cheesy things in a cold pan. That way, the cheese has time to melt before the bread or the tortilla get too dark or even burnt. Food looks prettier on real dishes rather than paper plates. And when you're plating up the food, place it into the center of the plate. That looks much more appetizing than if food is hanging over the edge. You can use a pizza cutter to cut quesadillas. Another way to flip things in a pan is to place a lid or an oversized plate on top of the pan. Then lift the pan up and flip it over, and the quesadilla or grilled cheese will slip right onto your plate. Your homework is for you. It's not for Chef Marino. You get to eat and share your food with your family and feel mighty proud of your accomplishments. Kids who watch the chef training videos cook great food. They use the same language and the same strategies for cooking great food every time. When you're trying to show the camera what you're making in a bowl or a pan, be sure to not tip the bowl or pan into the camera lens. Instead, leave the pan or the bowl on the counter or stove, and then pick up your Chromebook and hover it over the food so that your Chromebook stays nice and clean. There's some things you should know about nonstick pans. Many kids use them for making eggs. Nonstick pans come with rules, and that most important rule you should know about is to never use a metal fork or spatula to move the food around in the pan. It can scratch up the pan and make your food very unhealthy. Instead, you should use plastic or rubber spatulas to move the food around in the pan when you are cooking. A hot smoking pan is very unhealthy. If the oil or butter start to smoke, please stop. Move the pan off the burner onto the side on a cold part of the stove and wait for the pan to cool down. Then wash and clean it and start all over again. If you use hot, smoky oil or butter in a pan and put food into it, your food will not be healthy. We don't make eggs. Chickens lay them. When we cook eggs, we crack, whisk, scramble, fry, poach, and boil them. Please be sure to use the correct words when you are cooking. That's why the cooking videos are so helpful. Keep the sinker and counter clean to minimize distractions when you're making your videos. It's also much more pleasant for your family to enter the kitchen when everything is neat and tidy. And if you haven't had a chance to watch the Crafty Girls teach us how to make a video, please watch this again on YouTube.